Hi, my name is Eric Dibble, Regional Sales Manager at HF Scientific. In this video, we will be going over some common troubleshooting tips for HF Scientific's MCX Monochloramine Analyzer. The first one we want to go over is low readings. Sometimes a customer will call in and say, hey, I'm getting a low reading. And so the first thing that we want to find out is what reading is low. Let's say you come in and one day your monochloramine, your top line reading is low. What we first want to do when a monochloramine reading is low is check our buffer solution and check our indicator solution. Take the bottles out, open them up, make sure that you're not empty, right? That something didn't happen and the reagent has run out. The next thing we want to do is re-flush those lines with DI water. So push water through those lines. Make sure that it's a normal feeling. You're pushing on that syringe, but it's not too hard, right? There's not a blockage in that line. So flush both of those lines, and then we want to reprime the pumps. So when you reprime the pump, you really want to watch and make sure that you can see those air bubbles moving through the line. You can see in the sample cell itself, you can see the level rising, as that buffer and indicator go in there. If you're reading your total ammonia or free ammonia reading is low, that's what we need to look at our chlorinating solution. So if you've checked to make sure that your buffer and your indicator are all pushing through fine, then we need to look at our chlorinating solution. Again, is it out? If it's not out, let's take it out. Let's flush the lines. Let's prime the lines. Again, really watch to make sure that everything is coming into this sample cell. Everything looks like it's supposed to be. Another error that we can troubleshoot is a water intake error. So on the screen, if you have a water intake error, there will be a yellow bar at the bottom that says water intake error. The first thing to check if a water intake error, obviously it may sound dumb, but make sure the water's on, right? Maybe you had just done some work on it and calibrated it or changed reagents and you turned the water off. Let's first make sure that our water is on and we have the correct pressure. The next thing we want to look at for a water intake error is we really want to check out the cuvette, right? Is the cuvette dirty? If there's some buildup in there of some calcium or anything like that, if the cuvette is dirty, we can actually get a bad reading. So let's show you how to take the cuvette out. We'll take the top and twist it a few times, and you'll see the cuvette start to pull out. You want to be careful not to drop the cuvette. But there's your cuvette. Now let's say it is dirty, right? There's some iron on it or some buildup. You can clean it with some lime rust cleaner. If it's just some bio growth, you can just rinse it out and use a Q-tip to clean it out. To replace the cuvette, with one hand, push it back in and kind of hold it in there with a little bit of pressure where the cuvette is lined up with the O-ring, and go ahead and just tighten it back down. Very simple process. Another thing that could cause a water intake error is if our drain solenoid's not working correctly. So there's a couple different ways to check that, but the main way is we're going to go into our diagnostics tool on the screen and open the drain solenoid. So we'll click mode. It'll tell us that we're going into service mode, which is fine. We will hit mode again, and this will prompt us to enter our PIN. You will enter whatever PIN that you have set on the analyzer, and this will take you into another screen where you can enable admin. So by hitting enter, you've now enabled admin mode. Then hit mode again. It will tell you you're going into service mode. And this time when you hit mode for a second time, it'll bring up a lot of options for you. So we're going to scroll to where it says diagnostics, and it's highlighted blue. And we'll hit the enter button. And what you can do here is check a bunch of different things. You can check your intake, you can check your drain solenoid, you can check your measurement LED, and your water detect LED, as also as your environment temperature. For a water intake error, we're going to move down to where it says drain, highlight it blue, and hit the enter button. This will open the drain solenoid. If your unit drains, then you know the drain solenoid is working, but if the unit doesn't drain, then obviously the drain solenoid is broken. To troubleshoot that more, you can take the drain solenoid out from underneath here, or you can call HF Scientific's tech support hotline for more tips. The last thing that can cause a water intake error is if we're plugged up on the bottom, right? So maybe you checked that drain solenoid and it sounded like it clicked to drain, but the water just didn't drain out. One thing we recommend to customers is actually to air gap the drain. So leave some space below the drain and allow the water to fall out of the unit into a funnel. What that's going to do is help with any backup that might go in there. If there's any bio growth at the bottom, it's going to give it a lot more room to flow out. If you're still having water intake errors, then call the HF Scientific Tech Support and they can walk you through some more detailed troubleshooting. The last error that we want to talk about today is erratic readings. If you're getting erratic readings on the MCX, there's a couple different things that could be causing those. The first one to check and the most easy to check is check your reagents. Are all three of your reagents full? Are you at the end of that bottle where maybe sometimes you're pulling some reagent and other times you're not? If all three of your reagents, if they're empty, what we want to do is reference the reagent change video. Go ahead and take those out, flush the lines, put your new reagents in, and then prime the analyzer, and that should take care of the issue. Another issue that can cause some erratic readings is if our tubes are at the end of life. If the inside of those tubes have started to wear away a little bit and the analyzer is not working like it's supposed to, that may give you some erratic readings. We do have a video on the tubing change to help you walk through that process. It's very simple, but that is one thing that we do need to keep in mind. Right now, we do recommend that you change all the tubing on the analyzer every 6 months. The last thing that could cause some erratic readings are overpressure on your peristaltic pump. So this pump is set to take about 18 psi, and so you want to check on the incoming line of your analyzer and make sure that the pressure is less than 25 psi. So this is after the main regulator going into the analyzer. You want to make sure that pressure is below 25. If that pressure is above 25 and somehow your external regulator has failed, that will overpressure this peristaltic pump and actually cause water to leak by, which is going to cause you to get extra water in your sample cell, which will give you erratic readings. Thank you for watching the troubleshooting video. If you're still having some issues, please reference the manual for some more in-depth troubleshooting techniques. If you continue to have issues, please contact HF Scientific Tech Support or the sales team, and we'll gladly help you out. Thank you.